Race 1 on a big night of chasing from Sandown. It's a tough way to kick off. It's a restricted win final. We saw heats ran at Warragul, the final tonight at Sandown. I've gone 7, 5, 2 and 6. Number 7, Haha Magoo, and the danger with him is that he'll miss the start, but I do see him as the most talented one in the field. So, and he also is one who's going to be suited by the extra 55 metres compared to the distance they ran over in the heat. Second, number 5, Blind Electra, and she will benefit by the 2 on her outside in numbers 6 and 7. They're pretty ordinary beginners, so she'll take benefit from that. She's a prominent winner so far in her career and a clear chance. Third, number 2, Ember, usually begins well, and Sandown is his home track. And fourth, number 6, Willem Powerfish. And a bit like Haha Magoo, they're not that good in the run to the first split, but they will be suited by the more ground. So race 1, Warragul to Sandown final to kick us off. I've gone 7, 5, 2 and 6. Race 2, Launching Pad Consolation Series, heat number 1, and I'm with the red in Fractured. And we saw last week he was first up for a while, and although he finished 5th, I thought he was okay, and his trainer, Ned McDonald, has been bullish on his thoughts about Fractured recently, so clearly box number 1's a tick for him as well. So I've gone with Fractured from number 3, Aston Fastnet, and he is a seriously fast unit. But we saw last week in what was probably the first time that he's come up against a really strong field. He settled up okay, and then he started to drift back in the later stages. So as fast as he is, I just think he's shorting the market after what we saw in his heat. Third, number 5, Thursday Nights, and he's a good dog, but he's not as fast as Fractured and also Aston Fastnet. And yes, he did go 29 and 63 on his career debut at the Meadows, but he hasn't been as breathtaking since then. And fourth, number 6, Draft Manali, and Jason Lincoln is bullish about this boy. I just want to see more. He's just had the 2 career runs and just looking to see more experience and what he's all about. So race 2, Consolation Series, heat number 1 of the Launching Pad, gone 1, 3, 5 and 6. Race 3, Launching Pad Consolation Series, heat number 2, and I'm going with a roughie here in number 3, Impress Shades. Just thought he was worth a roll of the dice. I sense he's a better beginner than what the form guide does suggest in his past few starts. And look, recently it has been rare that he's had a clear crack early on. So he's got a moderate beginner on his inside from box 2, and on his outer in box 4, he's got Victor Reed, who we saw last week wanted to drift to the mid to wide part of the track. So just thought Impress Shades gets a chance here, and thought he was worth a roll of the dice at the price. Second, number 7, Lala Kiwi, and she found some bother last week, and as she began, she just wanted to dip to the left a little bit. So if she wants to do that again from the wide draw, she's got to begin cleanly. And we know when she does, she can set some really hot early speed. Third, number 5, Limiting. And on ability, he goes well. That win at Warragul back in January was just dead set, red hot, but he's just still developing as a race dog. And fourth, number 1, Stiff Win. So race 3, Launching Pad Consolation Series, heat 2. I've gone 3, 7, 5 and 1. Race 4, it's heat 3 of the Launching Pad Consolation Series, and a bit of an asterisk on this one. We've got Papaya number 1, who has been scratched at the time of recording. It is random as to whether Mapunga Reject or Southern Meteor will go into box number 1. If it's Mapunga Reject, he's a major player. But at this point in time, I have gone with number 2 in Blue Tiger. And I thought the first part of his heat last week was pretty good. And in this field tonight, there's not a stack of genuine speed, so he should be able to settle forward and give himself a chance. Second, number 3, People Get Ready, and he's one who came in to those Launching Pad heats last week fresh, and to be honest, he was quite disappointing. He had no impact on the race, but as we saw late last year, his best work is very good, but he must turn the tables on what he produced last week. Third, number 6, Keep It Blue, and he's another that should benefit by that lack of genuine pace in this field. And fourth, number 4, Nyangar Boy. He's just so away in the first 30 metres, but then he starts to throw his weight around. So race 4, heat 3 of the Consolation Series. I've gone 2, 3, 6 and 4. Race 5, and things go up a gear here. It's the first semi-final of the Launching Pad. The winner and runner-up will advance to next week's final. I've gone number 4 in Rickett and Rick, and look, just his past 2 runs, they've been very good. And the thing I loved most about his win in his heat last week was his run home. That was a time of 10:45. Now, I promise you that is very strong. If you're not familiar with run home times at Sandown, and it seems like his main weaponry is starting to shift into that sort of run home zone. At the same time, in his past two, beginning well. So it's a good combination. Second, number 3, Mapunga Warrior. And his run last week was very good. He's super strong, but he just must get ahead of Rickett and Rick mid-race to be a real legitimate winning chance, just given how strong Rickett and Rick got home last week. Third, number 7, Hadouken. He pushed up quite well from box 1 last week. He's probably not as suitably drawn out here in 7, and there's going to be pace from number 6 in Broady Light, so I think is going to have some sort of impact on the race early. And fourth, number 1, Suntory Rose. Now, I'm very wary of her because she's very strong, and she also began quite well last week, and in a manner where from box 1 this time around is going to have her in a much better position. So race 5, launching pad at semi-final number 1. I've gone 4, 3, 7 and 1. Race 6, this is semi-final number 2 of the launching pad, and I think this is the strongest one that we do see of the 4 this evening. And in terms of my top 4 selections, take your pick. I've gone from the inside out. Number 2, Earn the Answers. Just thought he raced well fresh last week because he had a short spell leading in, and his last 2 runs of the previous campaign, they weren't exactly up to the best of what we know Earn the Answers can produce. So I thought it was more encouraging last week, and he's drawn much better than what he did in his heat. Box 2 is far better than box number 7 for him. Second, number 3, Gypsy Yankee. And speaking of coming in fresh, last week was his first race for 6 months, and it was a superb performance. He stood up to the heat that came from Silver Lake to still go on and win and do so in good time. Third, number 4, Aston Rupee. Just seemed to lose his footing a bit out of the boxes in his heats, but we know it's clear that he's a dead set rocket. He's one of the fastest greyhounds in Australia. I just had him for third because I thought it might be a bit tricky for him to navigate those 3 that will show pace on his inside. And fourth, number 8, Lakeview Cruiser. And if there is any drama towards the inside, he will be swooping from the outer and putting himself into the race. So race 6, semi-final at number 2 of the launching pad. I've gone 2, 3, 4 and 8. Race 7, semi number 3 of the launching pad, and I'm with the boy they call Socks, number 4, Kuro Kismet. And he has been benefited by the big scratching of Silver Lake on his outside, but either way, he was still a huge player in this race, and he's just in a serious run of form. I mean, last week, 29.18, that is very fast, the fastest of the heat winners, but I thought the most important part about that run was his first split, 5.07. Now, if he's to start getting consistently down into the 5.0s, that's an ominous sign. He's going to run a straight line from box number 4 and straight away put himself into the race. Second, number 7, Shimmer Classic. And we saw that acceleration last week that we've seen a number of times so far in her career, and most notably in that heat of the Australian Cup. So I thought most of us probably expected her to run a bit quicker overall last week, but the dailies are possibly playing the long game, and we could see her improve each week we get through this series. Third, number 1, Silken, who's drawn well for the first time in a handful of starts. And fourth, number 8, Keep It Black, who is young and going well. So race 7, semi number 3 of the launching pad, gone 4, 7, 1 and 8. Race 8, it's semi-final at number 4 of the launching pad, and I've gone with number 7 in Fernando Mick, who does jump from the same draw that we saw him begin from last week and handle it so very well. He held his line from out wide, and we should expect a similar sort of performance from him. So he's got a slow beginner on his outside in Grace's Spirit. He's got West on Bray from box 6 on his inside. He's not going to veer wide. So I think he gets room to move, and the most important part, 29.30 last week. That is moving. Second, number 4, Aston Lavinia, and she's really flying at the moment. She's won 5 of her past 7, and in all of those wins that she's completed in the city, her worst first split has been 5.12, and even that is still quite sharp. So I just thought that Fernando Mick was better drawn, and that's why I had him ahead of number 4, Aston Lavinia. Third, number 2, Destruction, not yet 2 years of age and still getting better. This is another good draw for him, and it does give him an opportunity. And fourth, number 1, Auspicious Queen. So race 8, semi-4 of the launching pad, I've gone 7, 4, 2 and 1. Race 9, always good to see a stayers race on a Metropolitan card. This is a mixed 4-5 over the 715 metres. I've gone with the Hustler, number 4, Hank the Hustler, and look, just thought there was good value about him. And I'm basing this decision on last week's run, which was his first crack over 700 metres. He was beaten 5.5 lengths behind Run Like Jess, but to me, he was cost more than that in running. So he looks to be a natural stayer, a true stayer, and with clear room, I'm hoping he goes well. Second, number 3, Run Like Jess. Superb last week. Deserves to be favourite. He will be up front early on. I just thought there was too much value about Hank the Hustler not to go with him on top. Third, number 2, Star Blazer, who also come from that same race as the other two, and he began all right. So I just feel maybe, given he's drawn inside of Run Like Jess this time around, he might not give up the lead as easy as what some would predict. Fourth, number 7, Pilbara. So race 9, the stayers events of the night. I've gone 4, 3, 2, and 7. Race 10, this is a restricted win final. We saw heats run on Sunday. The final right here in front of us. So I've gone with number 3 in Hilltop Jack. Just thought he was real solid in his heat. He led for just about the whole race and set a time of 29 and 68. But look, still improving, still young, and there's not much speed around him here, which certainly does help his cause. Second, number 8, Capture Bart. Very honest operator. Just doesn't run bad races, and I expect that'll be much the same from that draw tonight. Third, number 4, Omega Gringo. Now, the best of him will come towards the second half of the race. That's when he'll come into it. And fourth, number 1, Time for Peace, who has put together a couple of nice wins at the Meadows. Just got to recapture some of that form. So race 10, gone 3, 8, 4, and 1. Race 11, it's a grade 5. It is over the sprint distance. I'm with number 6, the green in Taken. And look, just thought he was well drawn here because typically he's one who does like to hold a bit of a wide line in that middle part of the track. So because of that, box 6 is not a bad thing. And he's got one he's inside in Who That Opal, number 5. Now, she's usually pretty keen to get towards the rails. So just thought there'd be room there for Taken, and hopefully he can bounce back to some of his finest work. Second, number 2, Quara Bale. And she's good. She's also a little bit tough to read at times. So we're going to see no speed at all from number 1 in the Villa Bale, which means Quara will have that opportunity to find the fence very early on. It is her first look at Sandown, so I wasn't quite sure whether that's a negative or whether, for one like her, fresh is going to be best. Third, number 8, Power of Oscar. Big power unit. Box 8's okay. He'll begin slowly, muster quite well, then start to go through his gears down the back. And fourth, number 4, Wendell Bale, who can get away with a great deal of pace. So race 11, going 6, 2, 8, and 4. Race 12, it's a grade 5 to finish it off, and it's quite a tough way to round out proceedings. I went with number 7 here, Kinson Bale, and purely because a wide draw looks to suit him, because he won from box 7 his last start at the Meadows, and then in his one and only visit to Sandown, he had box 1, and he wanted to shift wide at the turn. So that's why I went with him. From number 3, we own a Bulldozer, a veteran, and he's got much more class than most of these greyhounds. So he will be looking to find the fence and will finish well. Third, number 1, Flywheel Bella. Her sale form is very good. She does come to Sandown for the first time and is winless from 5 starts when wearing the red vest. And fourth, number 2, Nikolai Bale. So race 12, the last on a ripping night of racing. I've gone 7, 3, 1, and 2.